Okay, so before I tell you what happened, let me go back in history, not too far, and explain to you what we've done to get this to this point where we're shut down. So a few days ago, about a week ago, I think it was last Saturday, last Saturday, today's Saturday, so last Saturday, I know you'll get this video on Sunday, we decided that we were going to disconnect our RV pump from our water tank, our IBC water tank. That way, when it got below zero, we were assured that our RV pump would not freeze. The reason I'm so concerned about this is because if the RV pump freezes, it can break. The water expands and breaks the pump. It did that the first year it froze. The second year, last year, it froze, but the pump didn't break. Now, the reason that can happen, or it doesn't break, is the hoses that come off of it aren't frozen. So the suction hose and the discharge hose aren't frozen, so that means the ice can expand out, keeping it from breaking the pump. Well, I didn't want to risk it. Well, actually, Carolyn didn't want to risk it, so we disconnected it. So we went, I guess, until Wednesday without any water running from the IBC tank. But that was okay, because we have the well. And the well cannot freeze. I know somebody's going to get mad that I keep repeating myself, but if I don't repeat myself, somebody's going to say, well, it can freeze. Water freezes. What are you talking about? The well has this black pipe on it right here that goes all the way down to the well pump. The well pump's about 100 feet down. About 70 feet down, I've drilled a hole in this pipe, the black pipe. And so the water drains back down. Every time I shut the well pump off, water drains back down, so this pipe is empty. Now, occasionally this will freeze, but I can break it loose, or I can take the little torch and break that loose. It's just there's a little remnant of water in there that freezes. Well, today it's very cold again. We got down to, I think, 2 degrees or 1 degree last night. So it wasn't sub-freezing or sub-zero temperatures, but it is cold. When we get this cold, it does not take very long for things to freeze. I have 2 house filters. You can buy them at Walmart. They're charcoal filter and sediment filter. I've showed them to you before. They're in the house. During sub-zero temperatures, or even zero temperatures, you can bring those out, and within 5 minutes, they're froze because there's water in them. I don't drain the filter housing when I take them inside. I just take them inside so they don't freeze. So I disconnect the hoses. I run a hose into that filter and then another hose out of the filter. I got 2 of them, and they run, one's a sediment and then the very next one is a charcoal filter. So last year I came out here and I was trying to start the generator is what I was trying to do. So I hooked up the hose, I hooked up the filters, and I tried to start the generator. Well, the generator didn't want to start. It was too cold. So I, even at the time, had this black one. Of course, it doesn't run anymore. And I tried to run the well off that black one. Black one wouldn't want to do it. So I took the generator in the house so it would warm up. By the time I got back out, unhooked the filters, which was, I couldn't have been more than 10 minutes. They were solid ice, just a block of ice. It was incredible how fast those things froze up. I got to be careful that I don't leave things out here that can freeze quickly in these temperatures. Hoses. I always drain the hoses. Got these 2 white hoses, and I run them downhill. I blow them out, and then I walk the line just to make sure there's no water in it. So Wednesday rolled around, and we got above freezing temperatures again. So I came out here, and I did have 1 hose. I tried to blow the hoses out. See, the hose goes from the IBC tank or tube to the pump, the RV pump. And then the RV pump connects into another white hose like this one I just showed you. And that white hose runs into our water heater. So it's like a camping water heater. I tried to blow that out, but apparently there was some water still in it that froze. Now, it didn't freeze until like day 2 of the sub-zero temperatures. And the reason I know this is because every now and then I just go there and see if I could blow the air into it, and I could. But on the 3rd day, I couldn't do it anymore. So there must have been some water in there that wasn't enough water in it that it would move out of the hose when I blew in it. But it must have been enough that when it expanded, there was no room for air to go around it. So on Wednesday, I hooked everything back up. I thawed that hose out, and we were up and running. but the water temperature was still really cold. Now, one of the ways I warm the tank is I put well water in it. Well water comes in about 54, 56 degrees, somewhere around there. So the water temperature in the tank does not freeze. I've never had it froze. Occasionally I'll get a layer of ice, but it's easy to break, but it's never froze where I couldn't use it. So I'm not even concerned about the tank. I'm concerned about plumbing, the RV pump, the hoses. I just don't want that pump to break. I have a backup pump. It's up in the attic. I can change it out within 10 minutes. It doesn't take long. So everything was working, but the water temperature was really cold, so I warmed it back up by putting well water in it. So what we did some laundry. We used about 40 gallons of laundry, took showers, that kind of thing. So I probably put in 50 gallons. In the meantime, I knew it was gonna get cold again, but I didn't think it was gonna get sub-zero temperatures, and it hasn't. But I knew it was gonna get back down to these zeros and single digits. So I do laundry every day. That way we're lowering the tank and filling it back up with warmer water. And it seems to be working. Now, every time I talk about the water tank assembly, the whole thing, everybody's mind, everybody I talk to, no matter whether it's face to face, whether I'm literally showing them the components, their brain immediately goes to the tank is freezing. And so every conversation or solution that someone provides is in the reference of keeping the tank from freezing. The tank isn't freezing. I don't care about the tank. The tank is fine. I could thaw the tank out with well water. It's the plumbing, just like everybody else's house. The plumbing is freezing. Now, people will tell me to bury the tank. Again, we're talking about the tank. One person said, several people have said this, bring the pump inside the house, that way it can't freeze. Okay, you still have the plumbing, just like everybody else's house. Some people say use that heat tape, the electrical heat tape, use about 25 watts an hour. Okay, how do you power that? I'm off grid. So I don't know why it is such a big deal for everybody to think that I gotta have that tank. I don't have to have that tank. I can take this hose, I hook it up to the well, I hook it up to the water heater. This is the water heater. See, this is the hose that comes from the RV pump. So the RV pump has a little tube that comes from the IBC tank. The RV pump takes water from the IBC tank and pumps it into this hose. The hose takes it into the water heater, and we have hot water. So all I got to do is disconnect this hose, run that white hose from the well to here, turn the well on, and I got hot water. Again, I'm not sure why it is so important for me to continuously cover this topic, other than people are not grasping two things. The tank doesn't freeze, and we have water. I've got 3 buckets of water, 2 buckets of drinking water sitting here, 1 bucket that had kitty litter in it. We weren't too sure that we wanted to drink water out of the kitty litter bucket, so we use that for dishes and different things. We still have a bucket in here that we can use to flush the toilet with. So we have plenty of water. Anytime we need water, I go out to the well, I can fill a bucket, I can hook a hose up to it. We got water. The thing I tried to express, we are probably in better shape than everyone else. Everybody who's telling me that I need to fix this probably has frozen water pipes. I know the towns around here keep posting in the Facebook groups for the appropriate town. They're needing plumbers. I've seen plumbers running up and down this road for 2 days straight. They're making a fortune. You know, the one place they're not stopping? Here. I don't need a plumber. I have water. The thing I'm trying to express to people is stop over-engineering things that isn't going to work. I've had people tell me that I need to run copper tubing around the chimney here. And then take the suction from the IBC tank. It'll suck it up. What happens is that heat will draw the water up the chimney, and then you pump it back into the tank. Okay, here we go again. One, I'm not worried about the tank freezing. It doesn't freeze. So why am I warming the tank? It's doing nothing for the RV pump, which is what I have a problem with. 2, you saw I just stuck my hand on this. We don't run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't need to. It's a tiny house. We're running about 5 times a day. It's warm, but I can hold my hand on it for several minutes. As that cools off, the water is going to stop flowing. So that tube is going to freeze. As soon as it freezes, then we turn the stove back on. It heats up. The pressure from the circulation will go into that tube and make the tube explode right off over the wood stove. You're only creating another problem. And the thing is you didn't fix anything. The tank is not the issue. The solution to my problem is the well. I've already solved my problem. As long as that pump doesn't break. And the thing is it's only a $30 pump, so if it does break, it's not like the end of the world. But if the pump doesn't break and we're just frozen up, I just shift gears. I just go into winter mode. And then everybody acts like that I'm the only one struggling through winter. Winter is tough for everybody. Cars don't start, pipes freeze, extra heating bill, the heater furnace doesn't work. You're so cold that you have to run a backup heater, propane and electric. I don't have any of these issues. So I don't know why people get in the comment section explaining to me how to solve my issues. Now, the ones I love are the scientists that come into my comment section and explain to me that it's science. You're an idiot. Just follow the science. I love that because the scientists in the comment sections are never right with their science. So this guy says, it's science, man. That's exactly what he said. It's science, man. All you have to do is let the water drip and it won't freeze. Everybody knows this. Huh. Well, okay, Mr. Scientist. The reality, I know this is science, and I'm getting ready to say something that is going to turn the world in the wrong direction. We're going to end up going backwards in time because the solar system is just going to freak out when I tell you this. I've had the water drip in my life, and pipes froze for 9 years straight. Every year, the pipes would freeze, and I usually had it dripping from the sink and the bathtub because we had 2 different areas of the house, and it would freeze. Just watched a YouTube video, 2 days ago? The guy said he had his sink turned on, dripping, and it still froze because it was on the north side of the house, so it still froze. So here's the science, Mr. Science Guy. The science is the temperature of the water coming out of the ground is probably about 54 degrees. So as you're dripping, as long as you get that water to come out of your faucet before it gets below 32 degrees, it won't freeze. But as it's traveling through that pipe, it will eventually freeze if it's got to travel long enough, or if it's in that pipe long enough. And the colder the temperature, the less time you get with that. So you may end up having your faucet fully opened in order for it not to freeze. But it's because the water temperature is hot. Has nothing to do with flow. Go to any river, the Mississippi River. I used to go there all the time when I was a kid. I lived right next to it. And you'd have these huge ice formations floating down the river. It does freeze. Don't give me the science, give me the reality. That's what I'm looking for. And besides that, we did try to drip it the first year we were here. I knew it wasn't going to work. You got to remember, when we freeze up, the tank water is getting colder. We're not getting the ground heating. So let's say I have water temperature in there 54 degrees. As the temperature drops, the temperature in the tank drops also. So let's say it gets down to 32 degrees. Then it goes into that pipe, the hose, before it goes into the water heater. Eventually, 32 degrees is going to drop down to 31 degrees and it's going to freeze. I just don't get that long to travel time to let it drip. The other thing is we got the RV pump. And the RV pump makes noise. So you got to listen to that noise all the time. The other thing is it takes energy, electricity. During the winter, when we don't have a lot of electricity because the batteries are depleted from the cold weather, just like on your car, your cell phone, lithium-ion batteries do the same thing. So don't give me you got to have lithium. It's 6 amps per hour. It's going to use energy, and it's not going to solve our problems. The solution to our problems, once again, is the well. When you understand that you cannot have one system as your reliable system, then you'll be able to survive living off grid just fine. I always say you got to have a backup to the systems you cannot live without. So we can't live without water. I have the IBC tank, I have a well, I have an extra well pump, I have an extra RV pump. We used to have an extra water heater. We're going to get another water heater. We have generator, actually 2 generators. My primary system is the well. The IBC tank is total luxury because I get to stand in here and take a shower and I don't have to go outside and fill up buckets or hook up hoses or anything. It's just luxury, that's all it is. And I have an extra well pump in case something happens to my well pump. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I'm showing you how I was building a tiny house. So I hope I can inspire you to think in realistic terms, not science, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.